Leah Monroe never planned to see Ethan Blackwood again. Not after the heartbreak they shared 2 years ago, but when a dangerous secret from her past resurfaces, she offers him an outrageous deal. A fake marriage in exchange for control of her family's fortune. It was supposed to be business, until bullets start flying, shadows start following, and Ethan realizes Leah is hiding more than just her heart. Someone wants her dead, and now they want him too. As danger closes in, their staged vows blur into something real, something neither of them can walk away from. But to survive, they'll have to outwit a ruthless enemy and face the truth they've both been running from. In this high-stakes romance where passion and peril collide, one wrong move could cost them everything, including each other. This is a story you will want to sit back and enjoy. Before we start, I would like you to subscribe, like and comment on this video from where you are watching from. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories. Let us begin. The storm outside was nothing compared to the chaos in Leah Monroe's head. She sat at the far corner of the dimly lit cafe, her hands curled around a mug of coffee that had long gone cold. She had been rehearsing the words all afternoon, but when the door swung open and he walked in, her thoughts scattered like autumn leaves. Ethan Blackwood. Every inch of him screamed controlled power, from the sharp cut of his tailored suit to the way his steel gray eyes locked on hers, as if no one else in the room existed. He slid into the seat across from her without asking permission. "You said it was urgent," he said, his voice low, steady, but edged with impatience. Leah swallowed hard. "It is, and it's going to sound insane." Ethan arched one brow. "Try me," she exhaled shakily. "I need you to marry me." For a beat, the world seemed to pause. Rain hammered against the windows, an espresso machine hissed somewhere behind them, but Ethan's stare never wavered. "Leah," he said slowly, "we haven't spoken in 2 years. The last time we did, you told me you never wanted to see me again." "I didn't," she admitted, "and I still wouldn't, unless I had no choice." Ethan leaned back, studying her like she was a puzzle with a missing piece. "This is about more than you just needing a husband. What are you hiding?" Her pulse raced. She had promised herself she wouldn't tell him everything, not yet. But the truth was dangerous. If she said too much, she'd put him in the same line of fire she was in. "I just need it to look real for a while," she said. "In exchange, I'll give you something you want." Ethan's lips twitched, not quite a smile. "And what is that?" Leah hesitated. "Control of the Monroe estate. All of it." That got his attention. His gaze sharpened, but he said nothing for a long, heavy moment. Finally, he asked, "Why me?" "Because you're the only man my uncle would believe I'd marry for love," she said softly. "And because you're ruthless enough to pull it off." He studied her for another moment, then leaned forward, his tone colder now. "If I do this, Leah, it's on my terms. My ring, my rules." She nodded, though every part of her screamed that she was playing with fire. Ethan Blackwood didn't do anything without an agenda, and she was handing him leverage over her life. "Fine," she whispered. "When do we start?" Ethan's eyes flickered with something unreadable. "Tomorrow morning." The courthouse. Her stomach dropped. "That soon? If you want this to be convincing, there's no time to waste." Leah stared at him, her mind spinning. She had just set in motion a chain of events she might never be able to undo. But before she could respond, Ethan leaned closer and murmured, "One more thing, Leah. Whatever secret you're keeping, I will find out." Her breath caught, because the moment he said it, a shadow passed by the cafe window, a man in a black coat, watching them. And Leah knew her past had just found her. The courthouse was quieter than Leah expected. The air smelled faintly of paper and coffee, the fluorescent lights humming softly above. Her heels clicked against the polished floor as she walked beside Ethan, her arm linked with his, the first act in their performance as newlyweds. On the surface, they looked convincing. Ethan's hand rested lightly over hers, his expression calm, almost protective. But underneath, Leah felt the tension in his grip, the unspoken questions lingering between them. She didn't sleep last night, not after she caught sight of the man outside the cafe. Broad shoulders, sharp jaw, eyes that never blinked as they watched her, and the way he stood in the downpour without moving, as if he was waiting for her to make the wrong move. Ethan had noticed him too. She could tell by the way his gaze swept the street before they walked in. But he hadn't asked yet. The clerk called their names. Ethan guided her forward, his palm warm at the small of her back. When the judge recited the vows, Leah forced herself to keep her voice steady, to meet Ethan's eyes as if this was the most natural thing in the world. Her fingers trembled as he slid the ring onto her hand. It was heavier than she expected, a perfect circle of gold that felt like a shackle. "You may kiss the bride," the judge said. Ethan's hand cupped her cheek, his touch firm, deliberate. His lips brushed hers, slow, warm, and just long, enough to make her heart race. The kiss wasn't for her. It was for the witnesses, for the paper trail. But still, it left her dizzy. When they stepped outside, the rain had stopped. The city smelled like wet asphalt, and the street shimmered under the cloudy light. Ethan stiffened. "Leah," he murmured. She followed his gaze, and there he was. The man from the calf, standing across the street. Watching them, her chest tightened. She grabbed Ethan's arm. "Don't look at him. Just keep walking." "Who is he?" Ethan's voice was sharp now. "No one," she lied, forcing a smile at a passing pedestrian. "Just someone I used to know." Ethan's jaw tightened, but he didn't push. They walked toward his car, the air thick with tension. Halfway there, Leah's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She shouldn't answer. She knew she shouldn't. She answered anyway. Deep voice slid through the line. "You think a ring will keep you safe, Leah? Tell your husband to watch his back." Her blood ran cold. She froze mid-step, the phone slipping slightly in her hand. "Leah?" Ethan's voice was closer now, almost urgent. She hung up without replying. Her pulse was hammering in her ears. "It's nothing," she whispered, but her voice was too thin to be convincing. Ethan's gaze searched her face. "You're lying to me, and if you don't tell me the truth soon, you might not get the chance." Before Leah could respond, a black SUV turned the corner fast and swerved directly toward the curb where they stood. The sound of screeching tires drowned out her scream. The SUV's headlights flared, blinding Leah for a split second. Ethan moved before she could even process what was happening, his arm wrapped around her waist, hauling her back just as the vehicle's front bumper scraped the curb where she'd been standing. They stumbled into the narrow gap between two parked cars, the rush of air from the speeding SUV cutting against her face like icy wind. The sound of squealing tires echoed down the street as the vehicle swerved away without stopping. Leah's heart pounded so hard it hurt. She was pressed against Ethan's chest, his hand still gripping her waist, his breathing heavy but controlled. "Are you hurt?" he demanded, his tone sharp with adrenaline. She shook her head, but her voice came out in a whisper. "No." Ethan stepped out, scanning the street, his jaw tight. "That wasn't random." "I know," she said before she could stop herself. His head snapped toward her. "So you do know who they are?" Leah swallowed. "I didn't say. You didn't have to." His eyes burned into hers, the gray in them stormier than she'd ever seen. "You're in trouble, Leah. And now, so am I." A figure appeared at the end of the block, tall, broad, wearing that same black coat. The man from the calf. He didn't run, didn't hide. He just stood there, watching them with a patience that chilled her to the bone. Ethan noticed. His arm came around her again, pulling her toward his car. "Get in." She hesitated. "Ethan, get in the damn car." She obeyed. The moment she shut the door, he was behind the wheel, pulling away from the curb. The figure in the black coat didn't move, but she could feel his stare following them long after they'd turned the corner. They drove in silence for several blocks before Ethan spoke again. "You're going to tell me what's going on now." Her fingers twisted in her lap. She wanted to tell him. She almost did, but she could still see the image in her mind, her uncle's body sprawled across the study floor, the letter opener slick with blood. And she knew what would happen if she told Ethan the whole truth. He'd be in even greater danger. "It's complicated," she said finally. "I'm a complicated man. Try me." She bit her lip, staring at the passing lights. "If I tell you, you'll walk away." His hand tightened on the steering wheel. "You married me, Leah. There's no walking away now." They pulled into the underground garage of his penthouse building. The concrete walls made the air feel heavier. Ethan shut off the engine and turned to her. "Last chance to come clean," he said. She met his eyes, her chest tightening. "Ethan, I think someone wants me dead." Before he could respond, a deafening crack split the air, the sound of a gunshot echoing through the garage. A bullet ricocheted off the wall just inches from Ethan's head. The gunshot's echo still rang in Leah's ears. Ethan reacted instantly, his hand shoved her down behind the hood of the car, his body blocking hers like a shield. Another shot cracked, this one hitting a pillar with a burst of concrete. "Dust. Stay down," he barked. Leah's breath came in shallow bursts. Her heart hammered so loudly she almost didn't hear the sound of footsteps rapid, deliberate closing in. Ethan moved low, his hand slipping under his jacket. Leah's eyes widened. "Is that?" "Yes," he cut in. "And I'm not afraid to use it." She didn't have time to ask where or why Ethan had a gun. The footsteps stopped. Silence thickened around them. Ethan peered around the car, gun raised, scanning the shadows. Then he caught her gaze and mouth. "Stay here." He moved in a slow, calculated crouch toward the noise. Leah pressed a hand over her mouth, willing her body to stay still. But then bang, another shot, so close she flinched. She caught a glimpse of movement, a figure dressed head to toe, in black sprinting toward the garage exit. Ethan didn't chase. He returned, eyes sharp. "We're leaving now." Within minutes they were inside his penthouse. The door bolted, the curtains drawn. Leah had never been here before. It was everything she expected from Ethan's sleek lines, glass, steel, and a panoramic view of the city that now felt like a trap. She stood by the window, staring out at the glittering skyline. "I told you," she whispered, "I'm not safe." "You're not safe because you're keeping me in the dark." He stepped closer, his voice lower now, almost dangerous. "Tell me, Leah, who's after you?" Her throat tightened. "If I tell you, you'll wish you never married me." Ethan's jaw clenched. "That ship sailed the moment you walked into that cafe." She met his gaze, the space between them charged. For a second, the danger outside faded, replaced by something harder, something unspoken. He broke it first, stepping back. "Fine, don't tell me, but from now on, you don't go anywhere without me." His eyes flicked to the door. "That's not necessary, it's not negotiable." He turned away, pulling out his phone. "I'm calling in someone who owes me a favor." Before she could ask what that meant, the phone on the kitchen counter buzzed. But it wasn't Ethan's, it was hers. The caller ID made her blood run cold. "Private number," she hesitated. Ethan's eyes narrowed. "Answer it." Her hands shook as she picked up. "Hello." A familiar, cold voice slid through the line. "You should have stayed quiet, Leah. Now, your husband will pay the price." The line went dead. Before Leah could speak, the sound of shattering glass exploded from the hallway, followed by heavy footsteps inside the penthouse. The sound of glass hitting marble jolted Leah's body into pure instinct. Ethan grabbed her arm and pulled her behind the kitchen island just as a second crash echoed through the penthouse. "Stay down," he ordered, his tone clipped but calm, the kind of calm that made her realize he'd done this before. Two shadows moved in the hallway, men tall, broad, wearing black tactical gear. Their faces were masked, their movements precise. One of them swept into the living room, weapon drawn. Ethan rose just enough to fire two quick shots. The intruder dropped, his weapon clattering to the floor. Leah's stomach lurched, but there was no time to process. The second man was already moving in from the other side. Ethan shoved her toward the bedroom. "Go," she hesitated. "I'm not leaving you, Leah." His voice was sharp, almost desperate. She ran. The sound of gunfire followed, muffled by walls, then the thud of bodies hitting the floor. She yanked open the bedroom door, scanning for somewhere anywhere to hide. But when she turned, she froze. The man in the black coat stood in the center of the room. Up close, he was even more terrifying, broad frame, sharp eyes that missed nothing, and a scar that cut across his jawline. He wasn't wearing a mask. He wanted her to know who he was. "Hello, Leah," he said, his voice low, almost amused. "You've been hard to find." Her pulse pounded. "What do you want?" He stepped forward. "Not what. Who?" Ian's voice roared from the hall. "Leah, get away from him." But before she could move, the man's arm shot out, grabbing her wrist in a grip like iron. His other hand held something small and metallic, a silver pendant. "You remember this, don't you?" he murmured. Leah's breath caught. She did. She remembered exactly where she'd seen it clutched in her uncle's hand the night he died. Ethan appeared in the doorway, gun raised. "Let her go." The man smiled. "If you want her, Blackwood, you'll have to come get her." And in one swift motion, he yanked Leah toward the shattered glass balcony doors. The wind from the open balcony whipped through Leah's hair as the man in the black coat dragged her toward the edge. Her heels scraped against the slick marble, the city skyline yawning behind him like a mouth waiting to swallow her whole. "Ethan," she gasped, her fingers clawing at the man's wrist. Ethan advanced slowly, gun still raised, but his eyes locked on hers. "Hold on, Leah. Don't move." "Oh, she'll move," the man said with a smirk. "Unless you put that gun down." Ethan's jaw tightened. "You think I'm going to let you walk out with her?" The man's grip tightened on Leah's arm. "I'm not walking. I'm flying with her." A chill went through her. He meant it. He was going to jump. She twisted in his grasp, her voice shaking. "You don't have to do this. Whatever you think I have, I know you have it," he snarled. He shoved the silver pendant into her face. "Your uncle died for it, and so will you, unless you hand it over." Ethan's eyes sharpened. "Leah, what is he talking about?" She swallowed hard. This was it, no more hiding. "It's a key," she said, her voice cracking. "A key to my uncle's offshore accounts. It's worth millions. I didn't steal it, but people think I did." The man yanked her closer to the railing. "And now, you're going to give it to me." Ethan moved in a sudden blur, dropping low, kicking the man's leg out from under him. Leah stumbled forward, and Ethan caught her, pulling her tight against him. The man lunged, but Ethan shoved Leah behind him and fired a shot into the marble at his feet. The intruder froze, breathing hard. "I'll kill you both for this," the man hissed. Ethan's voice was low and lethal. "Get in line." Before the man could move, the sound of sirens cut through the night air, loud, close. His eyes narrowed, and then, with a mocking salute, he darted back through the broken doors and into the shadows. Leah sagged against Ethan, her chest heaving. "He's not going to stop." Ethan tightened his hold on her, his voice like steel. "Neither am I." The flashing blue lights of the police painted the penthouse walls in stuttering pulses. Two officers took statements in clipped tones, but Ethan barely heard them. His mind was already running ahead. He knew men like the one in the black coat. They didn't vanish. They circled back. When the officers finally left, Leah stood by the shattered balcony doors, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. The city's hum seemed distant, muted. She looked so small in that moment. But he knew better. She was still standing after all of this, and that was its own kind of strength. "He'll come again," Ethan said quietly. She turned to face him. "I know, and when he does, I'll be ready." He stepped closer, his eyes searching hers. "We're not waiting for him. We end it tonight." Her pulse jumped. "What are you planning?" "Bait," he said simply. "You." Her eyes widened. "That's insane." "That's effective." He cut in. "He wants the key. We give him a reason to think you're handing it over." Minutes later, they were in Ethan's black sedan, weaving through dark streets toward the old shipping yard on the waterfront, a place with enough shadows to swallow anyone whole. Leah's hand stayed curled around the pendant in her pocket, her palms slick. The man in the black coat was already there, waiting like he knew they'd come. He stepped from the shadows, smiling. "Smart." Leah's throat tightened. "You want it? Come take it." She tossed the pendant into the open space between them. It clinked against the wet pavement, spinning once before settling. The man stepped forward, and that was when Ethan moved. He came out of the shadows behind. The man, gun pressed to his back. "Game's over." The man chuckled, low and dangerous. "You think this ends with me?" "It does tonight," Ethan said. A brief, brutal struggle followed, the man twisting, throwing a punch, Ethan countering with a solid strike to the ribs. Leah stood frozen until the men lunged for her. She reacted without thinking, grabbing a rusted pipe from the ground and swinging hard. The blow connected, and the man staggered. Ethan shoved him to the ground, cuffing him with the zip ties he brought. By the time the police arrived again, the man was bleeding, swearing, and promising revenge. But Ethan knew. He just burned his last chance. Hours later, back at the penthouse, the silence between them was heavy but different now. No more secrets. No more pretend. Leah broke it first. Our deal was for a fake marriage. Ethan stepped closer, his voice low. That was before you nearly got killed 3 times in a week. She gave a soft, disbelieving laugh. So what are you saying? I'm saying. His hand brushed her cheek, tilting her face toward his. I'm keeping you. Her chest tightened. Even with the danger, his gaze didn't waver, especially with the danger. The kiss that followed wasn't for show this time, it was real, raw, and filled with everything they hadn't said. And when she kissed him back, she realized the truth. She'd walked into this marriage to protect herself. But somewhere along the way, Ethan Blackwood had become the one thing she couldn't imagine losing. Outside, the city lights glimmered. Unaware, inside, Leah knew the danger might return one day, but now, she wouldn't face it alone.